Welcome to my channel. I'll be walking you guys through Module 2 of the KPMG Data Analytic Internship. In Module 2, you are required to analyze the 3 datasets that you were provided, visualize your results as well as prepare a PowerPoint presentation. In the presentation you are required to offer recommendation on which of the 1,000 new customers should be targeted. Before we start the video, thank you guys so much for getting me to 11 subscribers, and if you are new here or haven't subscribed, I kindly request you subscribe so that I can get to 20+ subscribers. Thank you in advance, guys. Let's now get into the video. In Module 1 we cleaned the datasets. Now we are in Module 2, Customer ID is common in the 3 datasets. We are therefore going to use the transaction sheet and copy columns that are useful from the other 2 datasets. From the customer demographic sheet, let us copy the title of the columns from gender to the last column and paste it in the transaction sheet. Now using VLOOKUP function you can transfer the data for each column into the transaction sheet. VLOOKUP function use equals to VLOOKUP, the cell you are looking for, the array of dataset from where you are looking for the value, and finally the column number. Let us apply the VLOOKUP function on all the columns now. Follow carefully. Let us again go to the customer addresses sheet, copy the titles of columns that are necessary and useful and paste onto the transaction sheet. Again, using the VLOOKUP function, let's copy the datasets in their respective columns, just as I had showed you earlier. After that, let us now create pivot tables in a new sheet. Start by selecting all the datasets in the transaction sheet, then insert the pivot table. From the field list, add age under rows and count of past 3 years purchases under values. Go ahead and group the age column in a group of 10. Unselect all the data that is not relevant and useful. Then finally, let us visualize the data using a bar graph. It's that simple. We shall do this for different field lists. Remember, what I am visualizing is not the standard. You should be able to come up with other graphs that you believe or know will give information about the sales of Sprocket and what they should target. Select a new cell, then insert a pivot table. Select all the data in the transaction sheet. Sum of profit under the sum values and job industry category under rows. Unselect the irrelevant data, then plot. I hope you have followed along. I will complete on the rest of the pivot tables. Follow along. Once that is done, we need to carry out RFM analysis, recency, frequency and monetary analysis so that we can know the most valuable customers, and which customers to target in the new customer dataset. Let us start by identifying the most recent transaction. In the transaction column, do this by filtering. We have it as 30th of December, 2017, this will act as our comparison date. Let us now calculate the recency, where recency is equivalent to the comparison date minus the transaction date. Let's go ahead and select the entire data in the transaction sheet and add a pivot table on a new sheet. In the field list, add the customer ID under row, count of product ID, sum of profit and minimum recency under the summation of values. Create a column for recency, frequency, monetary, and total. Let us have a copy of the same on the side, so that we can compute the minimum. Lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and maximum of these parameters. There are various ways we can do this, but in this video we will use the quartile function. For the minimum value use equals array of the column, the quart which is 0. For lower quartile use quart 1, median use a 2, for the upper quartile use a 3, for the maximum use a 4. We need to now determine the scores are within what range. Is it a 4, a 3, a 2 or a 1? To do this we will use another function, known as the if function. For the R score, if it is less than the lower quartile, that is a good sign, give it a 4, if it is less than the median give it a 3, if it less than the upper quartile give it a 2, and finally all the other score greater than the upper quartile give it a 1. For both the M score and the F score it is the opposite of R score. If it is less than the lower quartile give it a 1 and so on. For us to compute the RFM total, have it as 100 times the recency score plus 10 times the frequency score plus the monetary score. Let us determine the customer profile, if the customer is a platinum, gold, silver or bronze customer. For us to do that we need to determine the minimum, lower quartile, median, upper quartile and maximum. Just like in the previous columns of scores we will use the if function. If the RMF total is greater than the upper quartile, that customer is a platinum customer. If greater than median, it is a gold customer. If it is greater than lower quartile, it is a silver customer. If it is a greater than the minimum, it is a bronze customer. Using this data, let us create another pivot table in the same sheet. For total of RMF or count of RFM, I have sum of RFM now, but I changed it to count later. From all the pivot table we can now be able to know our most potential customers, and using this parameter we can determine which new customers the sprocket can target. From the sample PowerPoint presentation that was provided, this is what I came up with. It is self-explanatory. Remember, this is just but a sample to help you through. Based on your analysis, it could be different. Thank you so much guys for watching. If you found this video helpful, do subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. I will be preparing a video on some of the issues you likely must have experienced when analyzing the data. Do you have any issue in specific that you would want addressed? Comment down below. Let us meet in the next video.